What is going on, everybody? WeedleTwineedle here, and we are back in with another Sun and Moon Wi-Fi battle, and this one's going to be against Sean. And I battled my opponent off my Discord server, so if you guys are interested in a Wi-Fi battle and trade community chat room where you can battle other people, feel free to check out my Discord server. A link will be in the description below. Now we are having a rarely used battle today because RU is a fun tier where no Tapu Lele is, so we're having fun. Now on my opponent's team is actually pretty damn threatening if you ask me. He has Zoroark, Mantine, Flygon, Doublade, Escavalier, and Nidoqueen. Very solid team in my opinion, as I'm using Hoopa and Moltres because I am confirmed a legendary Scrublord, Claydol, Blossom, Pangoro, and Mega Glalie because I wanted to use Mega Glalie again. So my team's actually relatively solid. It has a lot of hard hitters on there, and we're gonna get right into the battle because it was a pretty good battle if you ask me. So turn one, my opponent is gonna lead off with Baby Mama, as I'm gonna lead off with my Hoopa, and I'm like, I can just Psychic Goose Nidoqueen, easy. But my opponent is probably gonna switch out because she doesn't want to take a Psychic from the Hoopa, so I actually am gonna choose to bring in my Pangoro just on the off chance it is actually Zoroark, and it ends up being Zoroark, as you could see from the team preview as well. My opponent led off with Zoroark, so I did not walk into that because I'm too paranoid to walk into Zoroark like that. It's not that easy to trick me, come on now. But now my opponent is going to switch up to the real Baby Mama, as I'm going to go for the knockoff onto the Baby Mama and knock off its Black Sludge. So it doesn't have that recovery each turn, which will make it a lot easier to wear down, as now my opponent is not going to hesitate to click them Stealth Rocks because I do have a Moltres on my team, and Moltres, of course, being quad weak to Stealth Rocks is like the only reason why it's actually in RU, because otherwise it just hits so damn hard, as you'll see in this battle. But here, I do want to get my Rapid Spin off, so I'm going to bring in my Claydol here onto the Nidoqueen, knowing it probably can't touch me unless it carries Ice Beam, as here my opponent is going to go for Sludge Wave. It's not going to do too much damage to me, as Claydol should be able to take an Ice Beam anyway, and since the Nidoqueen's at a pretty low amount of health, I should be able to just beat it 1v1. But here, my opponent does expect me to go for Rapid Spin and raising this to Blade. Very good play, though I could have just easily went for Earth Power, so that was interesting, but he does expect the Rapid Spin. But now I can easily go for Earth Power, because I obviously have Earth Power on this Claydol, so there's no way this Blade's staying in to take the Earth Power, so I figured my opponent was taking the Blade to pivot into the Rapid Spin, then bringing Mantine to bring in on the Earth Power. So here I go for Rapid Spin again. Very risky play, because my opponent stayed and went for Sword Stance. It was practically GG, though I do have Sash Hoopa in the back. It was still pretty risky of a move, but it worked out for me as I'm able to get the spin off, and now my Moltres won't get wrecked. Actually, now that I think about it, I wouldn't have the Sash if I didn't get the spin off, so I probably would have been swept by Doublade there, but hey, we did it, so whatever. Here, I'm able to Toxic the Mantine, as now Mantine's going to go for Scald here. Obviously get that nice and skillful burn hacks, because Scald has a 100% chance to burn, as we all know. So Claydol being burned isn't really that big of a deal, because the only reason I needed Claydol for this game was to remove entry hazards, and since Claydol has a really bad matchup against the majority of its team, keeping it alive isn't really too big of a deal. So I'm going to lay up Stealth Rocks here because I have no reason not to at this point. My Claydol is pretty much fodder for anything that wants to go for a move, because he has Zoroark, he has Mantine, he has so many threats. Flygon, I don't have any way to hit Flygon because I don't carry Ice Beam, so I could just set up Dragon Dances on me if it's a Dragon Dance variant. It's just not a good matchup for me with Claydol, but at the very least I'm able to spin away the rocks and get Toxic off on Mantine, which otherwise was very hard for me to hurt on my team. So Claydol is getting very low due to the burn, and my opponent is actually going to choose actually, no, that's next turn, sorry. I'm gonna go for Rapid Spin onto the Mantine, as now the Mantine's gonna go for Defog to remove my Stealth Rocks. Decent play, though his team's not really weak to Stealth Rocks outside of Mantine, so I'm not really too sure why he did that, but either way, I'm gonna be able to get up my rocks again anyway, because I'm gonna outspeed him for some reason, because somehow Claydol outspeeds a Mantine. It doesn't make any sense to me, but whatever. This Mantine is being brought down pretty low due to Toxic, so that's very nice for me. And I can just offensively keep setting up these Stealth Rocks till I die, as my opponent does realize that, and he's going to switch into a Escavalier, which he probably should have brought in the first place against Claydol, but whatever, this works, because now my Claydol's almost dead anyway. But, you know, I get the Toxic off on the Mantine, which is definitely going to help with Moltres weakening it, because, you know, Moltres normally can't really do much to Mantine because it's a nice, especially defensive water type. But here I'm going to go for Earth Power here, no reason not to, as I can scout the Escavalier set, and it appears to be Assault Vest, as he actually carries Fell Stinger. I was not thinking about that, so I give the Escavalier +3 attack, which is very scary. but at the very least, I've removed entry hazard, so now I could just bring in my Moltres here, and Moltres can easily scare out this Escavalier. There's no way this Escavalier is staying in, unless he wants to risk Fire Blast mistings. But if I do miss Fire Blast, though, I could potentially lose the game. So he's going to bring in his Mantine here onto the Fire Blast, as I actually end up missing it. So if he just stayed in there and went for knockoff or whatever move he carried to hit Moltres with, I probably would have straight up lost the game due to Escavalier just sweeping my team. So luckily though, my opponent does miss, or my opponent does switch out, which was a smart play obviously, but if he just risked it though, he would have literally won the game from there, which is kind of hilarious. But I get the nice Hurricane Confusion hacks as well onto the Mantine, and the Confusion is going to knock him out, though if I just hit the Fire Blast, the Confusion hacks really wouldn't have mattered, so I guess you could say except for the Fire Blast miss, but either way, Mantine's dead, so that's fine. As now, in comes Zoroark, and Zoroark's like the only thing on his team that can outspeed Moltres at this point, besides Flygon. And I don't want to stay in to take the Dark Pulse, so I'm going to choose to switch into my Pangoro here once again onto the Dark Pulse, as he is just going to go straight for the Dark Pulse. And I'm pretty sure that the Zoroark is a Nasty Plant variant, because I don't know why else he'd have a Life Orb plus Dark Pulse, but maybe he could be mixed. Either way, I don't know what kind of set the Zoroark's running, because Zoroark is that kind of Pokemon that can run Plethora sets, which was why I was actually banned from RU in the previous generation. So, Moltres was also banned from RU in the previous generation. So we have a lot of broken Pokemon. I'm pretty sure Pangoro was banned from RU too, if I recall correctly. So, I'm just using all the broken Pokemon in RU, man. I'm just like the OU tryhard in RU, like Loki, but anyway, in comes Flygon, and Pangoro, I'm like, well, I don't want to give this thing a free Dragon Dance of its life, because if it gets a free DD up, I practically lose the game, so kind of staying here. I tank the Scarf Outrage, and now I'm able to knock him out with the Ice Punch. I wasn't expecting to live that turn. On the off chance Flygon wanted to be greedy, I sacked off my Pangoro, but I was not expecting to live that turn. But I guess that's just Flygon lacking in its offensive capabilities. As now, in comes a Escavalier. I know it's not the real Escavalier because it's a little too low for it to be the Escavalier we saw earlier. So Sludge Bomb is going to knock me out because he is Zoroark and is the Life Orb variant. And I'm pretty sure Sludge Bomb Zoroark is an event Pokemon if I recall correctly. Because God forbid they actually give Pokemon the moves, they should be accessible without events. Like, I don't get it. But here, he's going to go for Dark Pulse onto my Hoopa. I'm going to live with my Focus Sash, hope I don't get flinched, and thankfully I don't get flinched. I'm going to be able to knock out the Zoroark with the Shadow Ball with my Hoopa, and knock out the Zoroark. And thanks to the Magician, because I lost my Focus Sash, I will actually be able to steal Zoroark's item, so I actually steal the Life Orb, then die. Good job, Hoopa. Good job. I mean, I would have loved to use Destiny Bond or something, but whatever, it's okay. But now, gonna bring in my Moltres on the double down as in comes to Blade. My opponent doesn't really have a switch in the Moltres at this point since Mantine is gone. He has Flygon, Escavalier, and the Blade. So, actually, no, he only has 2 of them at this point, so he's pretty much just doomed to die to Moltres. So he's gonna go for a Last Ditch Shadow Sneak, not gonna do too much damage. His Fire Blast does connect, thankfully, and we're gonna be able to roast that to Blade alive. Down goes to Blade. Moltres is honestly like super strong. Like, if you're unable to get Stealth Rocks up on the field, the amount of pressure Moltres can put, wow, my English skills are on fleek. But the amount of pressure Moltres is able to output is ridiculous. And that's not even a joke because of Moltres' ability, but like, for real though, like, switching in a Moltres, Stab, Fire Blast, and Hurricane is actually extremely hard. And thankfully, Moltres comes through in this game, and I was able to catch that W against Sean. And I didn't even get to use Bellossom or Mega Glalie, so that was relatively disappointing. But I hope you guys enjoyed that battle, because I really had fun playing it. If you guys did enjoy the battle and want to see more of my daily uploads, please be sure to hit that like button. It really means the world to me, and your guys' support just makes me really happy and really helps support the channel. And the question of the day is going to be, what is your favorite legendary trio throughout the entire Pokemon series? Now, I'm pretty sure the only trios that exist are in the first 5 generations, so the legendary birds, the legendary dogs, the legendary golems slash whatever you want to call them, Reggies, the legendary pixies, the like Azelf, Mesprit, and the legendary fighting types, the Virizion, Cobalion, Terrakion. And I guess you can count the Tapus in Gen 7, but I mean, whatever. But my favorite trio, or quad, whatever the word is for 4 people, I actually don't know because I'm dumb. But yeah, my favorite trio in all generations is the legendary birds. You can call me a Gen 1er, but I just think they're very well designed and very cool looking. All 3 of them, Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres. I love all of them, and I love Articuno especially, and I need to get myself a battle ready one because Articuno is awesome. But that's gonna be the battle, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll check you guys in my next video. Alright, peace.